Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm July Sadahuya, and I'm here to report about the landforms and bodies of water. So let's start with the landforms. So a landform, it is a natural or anthropogenic land feature on the solid surface of the Earth or other planetary body. Landforms together make up a given terrain and their arrangement in the landscape that is known as topography. So landform include hills, mountains, canyons, and valleys, as well as shoreline features such as bays, peninsulas, and seas, including submerged features such as mid-ocean ridges, volcanoes, and the Great Ocean basins. So, when we hear about landforms, we might imagine large mountain ranges or wide plains, but in geography, landforms don't only exist on dry land. They're found on ocean floor as well. So, landform can exist underwater in the form of mountain ranges and basins under the sea. So, its example is the Mariana Trench. It is the deepest landform on Earth. It is located in the South Pacific at the Grand Canyon's deepest point. So it is over a mile from its top to its floor. So let's start with the different types of landforms. So there are 4 major types and 4 minor types. So mountain, a large natural elevation of the Earth's surface rising abruptly from the surrounding level. A landform that rises prominently above its surroundings, so generally exhibiting steep slopes, a relatively confined summit area, and considerable local relief. So its example is the Mount Everest. And then next is the hill. It is a landform that extends above the surrounding terrain, so it often has a distinct summit. It usually rounded natural elevation of land lower than a mountain. So its example is the Chocolate Hills in Bohol. So the main difference between a mountain and a hill is their elevation. The idea that a mountain is taller than a hill is perhaps the most widely accepted differences between the two. So additionally, mountains are often considered to have a much more defined and pointed peak than found on a hill. So the final difference between mountains and hills is that mountains typically belong to a larger mountain range, whereas hills are more commonly found standing alone. And the next is the plain. So it is a flat expanse of land that generally does not change much in elevation and is primarily treeless. So its example is the Montana Northern Great Plain. And the next is the plateau. In geology and physical geography, a plateau also called a high plain or a tableland. So it is an area of a highland consisting of flat terrain that is raised sharply above the surrounding area on at least one side. So its example is the Colorado Plateau. So the differences between the plain and plateau is plateau is higher level siya, kanang pangpang siya ba, taas, while plain is flat surface lang siya. But ang plateau, plain po na siya, but taas lang yun siya. And then, next is the minor different types of landforms. So, let's start with the basin. So, a basin is a depression or dip in the Earth's surface. So basins are shaped like bowls with sides higher than the bottom. So a drainage basin is an area of land where all flowing surface water converge to a single point, such as a river mouth, or flows into another body of water, such as a lake or ocean. So its example is the Amazon River Basin. So basin is an area of land where precipitation collects and drains off into common outlet, such as into river, bay, or other bodies of water. And then next is a valley. A valley is an elongated low area often running between hills or mountains which will typically contain a river or stream running from one end to the other. So its example is the Nile River Valley. And the next is the canyon. A deep valley with steep sides and usually a river flowing along the bottom. So its example is the Grand Canyon. So the main difference between canyon and valley is that canyon are deeper and have steeper sides than valleys. Canyons and valleys are two landforms that created by running rivers and erosion. So a valley is a depressed area of land between mountains or hills, while a canyon is a deep and narrow valley having steep sides. And the next is the buttes. So it is an isolated hill or mountain with steep or precipitous sides, usually having a smaller summit area than a mesa. So buttes are tall, flat-top, steep-sided towers of rock. Buttes were created through the process of erosion, the gradual wearing away of earth by water, wind, and ice. So its example is the Monument Valley Buttes. And the next, let's tackle about bodies of water. A body of water or water body is any significant accumulation of water on the surface of Earth or another planet. The term most often refers to oceans, seas, and lakes, but it includes smaller pools of water such as ponds, wetlands, or more rarely puddles. So, ako mga example na attach is mga major bodies of water lang. So, let's start with the ocean. So, ocean is a large bodies of water that covers nearly 3/4 of the surface of the earth. And the ocean is a huge body of salt water that covers about 71% of Earth's surface. And its example is the Pacific Ocean. And the next is a sea. It is also made up of salt water, and it is a large body of water entirely or partially surrounded by land. So this isn't to be confused with the sea, which is generally how people refer to the collection of oceans. So the expanse of salt water that covers most of the Earth's surface and surround its land masses. So that's the sea. So its example is the Mediterranean Sea. And the next is the lakes. So lakes are the next largest after seas. So a lake is always landlocked, meaning it's completely surrounded by land, except for a river that feeds or drains the lake. So it is a large body of water that's surrounded by land. So its example is the Lake Baikal. And then lastly is the river. It is a large natural stream of water flowing in a channel to the sea, lake, or such stream. So a river is a natural flowing water course, usually fresh water flowing towards an ocean, sea, lake, or another river. So its example is the Nile River. So the main difference between river and lake is that river is a moving body water, whereas a lake is a standing body of water. So is it important to know more about the types of landforms and types of bodies of water? So yes, it's important because in order to be able to improve and maintain the sustainability of our environment and also to predict and reduce the impact of contemporary Earth surface processes that lead to natural hazards such as landslides. So we need to have a basic understanding of the general configuration of landforms. And also, aside from the water itself, large bodies of water contain resources vital to human societies. So fish and shellfish have been unbelievably important resources for many human civilizations because they are very high in protein and vitamins that benefit human development. So water is very important in our daily living also because 60% of our body weight is made up of water. Our bodies use water in all the cells, organs, and tissues to help regulate our body temperature and maintain other bodily functions. And that's all. Thank you.